still stands for God's truths. And I really thank you for that. It's always so refreshing to be in a Bible preaching church where the truth is being preached. And so I'm excited to be here today. And this morning I would like to share some information with you about abortion and what God's Word says about abortion, as well as information about the Pregnancy Center. To put abortion numbers in perspective, nearly 900,000 babies' lives were taken by abortion in 2020. In this country alone. That means 3 times as many babies were killed by abortion last year and every year than the total number of people who died of COVID. Yet we don't hear those numbers broadcast every hour, 24/7, like we do the COVID numbers. How this must grieve God's heart, and it should ours.
Yes.
The recent tragedy here in Albany is a prime example of where the slippery slope of abortion has taken us. I can't help but believe that this recent tragedy, in which a precious baby girl was killed, is in part the result of abortion laws and indoctrination of our children in our schools, by our government, and in the media. Maybe you can hear me better now that I turn on the mic. Children are taught from a young age that unborn babies don't matter and have no worth unless they are wanted and planned. We are taught that there's no sanctity of human life and no value to a baby's life. Had that young man and the baby's mother chosen to kill their baby by abortion, even seconds before she was born, there would be no murder charges against either of them. There was an incident a few years ago in which a young couple killed their baby at their apartment during the labor and delivery of the child. Because the baby's life was supposedly ended before it was fully delivered, it was determined that this was no different than the couple having had an abortion at an abortion facility, so no charges were brought against either of them. With the indoctrination that's been going on since 1973 with Roe v. Wade, it isn't too much of a stretch for the people to rationalize that killing a baby after it is born is no different than taking its life just minutes before birth. As a result, we have tragedies like the one that happened here in Albany. We all need to take a strong stand against abortion, educate others on the realities of abortion and the slippery slope to infanticide, and vote accordingly. We need to be the voice of truth in this world where Satan no longer whispers lies, but boldly and brazenly proclaims them. When considering abortion in relation to God's Word, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the 6th commandment that says, "You shall not kill," also stated as "You shall not murder," and the frequently quoted passages of Psalm 139, 13 to 15. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. But what about other references to the sanctity of human life that are scattered throughout the Bible? Are you familiar with them? I'd like to share some of those with you today. The Bible tells us all human life has value, as it tells us in Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. God's words to Jeremiah apply to all mankind. He knew us, He formed us, and He consecrates us as His own. And in John 1:3, through Him all things were made. Without Him, nothing was made that has been made. How much more valuable can we be than that? That God would take the time to make each and every one of us as unique individuals, and to know us before He even puts us in our mother's wombs. There was no assembly line production for any of us. Each and every freckle and hair, every attribute was purposely selected by our loving Father and put together specifically for each of us. Even identical twins are not really identical. A friend of mine has beautiful identical twin girls that just turned a year recently, and they look very much alike, but you can still tell them apart. They aren't exactly the same size, their development timeline isn't the same, and their personalities are very different. So God even gives unique characteristics to identical twins. So after he so carefully and uniquely designs and creates each of us, he then breathes life into us and draws us to him, as Psalm 22:9-10 tells us. Yet you brought me out of the womb, you made me trust in you, even at my mother's breast. From birth I was cast on you. From my mother's womb you have been my God. So although God creating each of us gives us value, what gives us even more value is that we are created in the image of God. Genesis 1:26-27 tells us, Then God said, let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and all the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them.
Amen.
With this tremendous blessing and authority comes great responsibility, as Genesis 9:5-6 tells us. And for your lifeblood I will surely demand an accounting. I will demand an accounting from every animal, and from each human being too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another human being. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made mankind. Deuteronomy 27:25 explains this further. Cursed is anyone who accepts a bribe to kill an innocent person. Isn't that exactly what happens with abortion? Satan first starts by bribing the unsuspecting mother or father with promises of the return to a normal life, an active social life, an uninterrupted education, no marks against their social standing, no embarrassment, no judgment from family, friends, co-workers, or members of their church, just by having an abortion and making that child go away. Then there's Planned Parenthood and other abortionists who receive payments or bribes for performing the abortions. They basically are bribed to keep people's secrets. They receive even more incentives or bribes from their employers for generating and performing more and more abortions each year. Politicians accept bribes to vote in support of the current and create legislation that favors Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers. Cursed is anyone who accepts a bribe to kill an innocent person. No one is more innocent than an unborn baby. Proverbs 6:16-19 could be an entire sermon of its own. There are 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him. Haughty eyes, a lying tongue, hands that shed innocent blood, a heart that devises wicked schemes, feet that are quick to rush to evil, a false witness who pours out lies, and a person who stirs up conflict in the community. One might think this was specifically written for those who support, promote, and perform abortions. Let's look at each of these in relation to abortion. Haughty eyes. The word haughty is defined by Merriam-Webster as blatantly and disdainfully proud. The word is always used in the Bible in the evil sense of arrogant, disdainful, and setting oneself above others. It is often set in contrast to being humble. To have haughty eyes is to have an arrogant demeanor. It's an overall attitude of one's heart that causes one to scorn or look down on others. The haughty person sets himself above others and ultimately above God. When we are haughty, we become the center of our universe. Everything revolves around us. There is little, if any, concern for what others think and no consideration of the will of God. When we are at the center of our world, then nothing that we want is unlawful to us. you see how this applies to the way the millennial generation was raised and current generations are being raised? I'm not saying that everyone from the millennial generation on down is like this, but this is how the world has set them up. Many of them have been set up to believe they are the center of the universe. Everything revolves around them. And through moral relativism, nothing is unlawful to them. So this applies to pro-aborts, abortionists, politicians, and the media as well. And when I should probably define the pro-aborts when I say that they might call themselves pro-choicers, but there's really no choice with the pro-choicers, it's you get abortion. So I call them pro-aborts, are the people who are for abortion. A lying tongue. This certainly applies to pro-aborts, abortionists, politicians, and the media. Think of all the lies they tell regarding abortion on a daily basis. Hands that shed innocent blood. This one undeniably applies to pro-aborts, abortionists, and politicians. While some of these people shed the innocent blood with actual surgical instruments and abortion drugs, others shed it with the stroke of a pen or by giving money to organizations that perform abortions. A heart that devises wicked schemes. Pro-aborts, abortionists, politicians, and the media certainly devise wicked schemes to lure their unsuspecting victims. Feet that are quick to rush into evil. I would say this too applies to pro-aborts, abortionists, politicians, and the media. They often rush to spread evil lies with no concern for truth or accuracy. A false witness who pours out lies. No one who knows the truth can deny the false witness and lies that are poured out by the pro-aborts, abortionists, politicians, and media. And a person who stirs up conflict in the community. I can't think of many issues that stir up more controversy in the world than abortion. So this too applies to the pro-aborts, abortionists, politicians, and media. But what about us? If we do nothing to prevent abortions, are we just as guilty of these things that God hates and finds detestable? In Proverbs 24:11-12, God charges us with defending life. Rescue those being led away to death. Hold back those staggering towards slaughter. If you say, but we know nothing about this, does not he who weighs the heart perceive it? Does not he who guards your life know it? Will he not repay everyone according to what they have done? And in Matthew 18:10, see that you do not despise one of these little ones, for I tell you that their angels in heaven always see the face of my Father in heaven. Clearly God tells us not to despise the little ones, and yet mothers, fathers, grandparents, abortionists, abortion supporters, and many politicians obviously despise these little ones and sentence them to death through abortion. 1 Corinthians 3:16-17. Don't you know that you yourselves are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in your midst? If anyone destroys God's temple, God will destroy that person. For God's temple is sacred, and you together are that temple. Have you ever thought of abortion in that way? Not only does abortion take the life of an innocent child, but it destroys God's temple. Genesis 9:6. Whoever sheds human blood, by human blood shall their blood be shed. For in the image of God has God made mankind. Leaving no doubt about the value in which we have in God's eyes, we know that if we are created in God's image, we are called to protect and defend life just as he does. So Psalm 127:3, children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him. Children are a heritage and a reward from God. I doubt that anyone would intentionally destroy a gift they received from a loved one. Yet every day, thousands of people around the world destroy the gift of a child from the one who loves them more than anyone else. We need to pray fervently for the salvation of all pro-aborts, abortionists, politicians, and media representatives who promote, support, and perform abortions, as well as the victims who fall prey to their lies and take the lives of their unborn children. We also need to look deeply into our own hearts and determine whether we are following what God has called us to do. Only when hearts are changed will this evil be rectified. Until that happens, the CareNet Pregnancy Center stands in the gap and fights to save the lives of these precious babies and bring souls to Christ through the gospel message. To briefly summarize the ministry of the CareNet Pregnancy Center, we offer women the practical and emotional help they need to carry their pregnancies to term. CareNet provides compassionate, non-judgmental services to women and men facing a pregnancy decision or sexual health concerns. We offer help, hope, and healing through education and ongoing support through Christ-honoring means. We offer our services in a 7-county region. That usually surprises people. It's not just Greene County. We cover a 7-county region. It is a pro-life ministry, so we never refer for abortions. We firmly believe that if we save the mother with the gospel message, we can save the life of the child. All of our services are free and confidential. Our funding comes through fundraising events as well as donations from individuals and churches. We have 2 locations: our downtown office that provides pregnancy tests, adoption referrals, post-adoption support, sexual integrity presentations, post-abortion healing, and Earn While You Learn classes. Our second office is our Family Support Services office that's located in the Hope Community Center on 13th Street in Monroe. This office provides the material supports needed to assist parents of infants and toddlers, as well as maternity clothing for pregnant clients. Basically, we have everything a new mom would need for her baby from birth until they start school. This is made possible by generous donations of new and gently used items from our supporters. We offer an Earn While You Learn program to provide training and enrichment opportunities in the areas of child rearing, couple counseling, marital counseling, budgeting, health and nutrition, prenatal care, job application skills, and other areas, as well as opportunities for spiritual enrichment. The goals of the Earn While You Learn program are for clients to learn life skills to enable them to become self-sufficient and develop a deeper relationship with Christ. As part of our efforts to reach clients with the gospel message, every new Family Support Services client receives a Bible with 2 tracts strategically placed in it. While some of the clients might not be willing to hear the message of salvation from us, the majority of them are willing to accept the Bibles in the tracts. And we offer these Bibles in both English and Spanish because we do see quite a few Spanish clients as well. We have initiated a life discipleship program in some of our churches. The life discipleship program is an expansion of our church liaison program. The life disciple is our contact in each church who mentors and disciples clients who have made a decision for Christ. In addition, the life disciple takes an active role in keeping their congregation informed of important pro-life issues and events. I'm sure you realize a ministry such as this, as the Pregnancy Centers, doesn't happen without the work of many faithful servants who seek and follow God's will. And over the years, many individuals have given selflessly of themselves in many different ways to fulfill God's will for the Pregnancy Center ministry in Greene County. No one has been a more treasured servant to us than one of your very own, our dear Nancy Burhans. Nancy has dedicated 20 years of her life to the Pregnancy Center ministry. She has an amazing servant's heart, and she's blessed us and our clients beyond measure. If you are interested in learning about the volunteer opportunities at the Pregnancy Center, please give me your contact information after the service. Now you might be wondering how you can help the Pregnancy Center stand in the gap for precious unborn babies. Well, the first is become a prayer partner. Pray for our board, staff, volunteers, clients, and supporters. Pray for politicians who will fight for these precious little ones and legislation that will protect unborn babies. Pray for media sources that will stand up for the truth. Pray for changes of heart. Pray for the end of abortion facilities and abortion providers. Another is become a financial supporter. This can be done with a monthly contribution, a one-time annual gift, filling baby bottles with your change or dollar bills and returning the bottles to the center, through estate planning, or by attending our fundraisers. The fundraisers that we have scheduled for the rest of 2021 are spaghetti supper at the Hope Community Center on Monday, April 5th and Monday, June 7th. A baby bottle campaign from Mother's Day through Father's Day. Our annual Walk for Life on September 11th, and our annual fundraising banquet on November 9th. Then we have some really easy ways for people to help us as well. If you're a Thrivent member, you can apply for $250 twice a year through their Action Team program to be used for a local charity. The women who work at that office in for Thrivent are always very eager to assist you with this. So if you try to do this, don't do it on your own. Go in, have these ladies help you. They know the right words to use to get things approved. So you would use the $250 then to purchase needed items for the pregnancy center's clients or other ministry needs. And if you're a married couple that belongs to Thrivent, you have $1,000 total available to you each year through this Action Team program. As Thrivent members, you also have the opportunity to designate the pregnancy center to receive your annual Thrivent dollars. Another option you would have is to become a volunteer. We have a wide range of volunteer opportunities, from church liaisons to family support services workers, to fundraising volunteers, to bakers for our spaghetti suppers, and to delivery drivers who take things to the churches for us as well. And we have a number of other ones as well. I have a list. If anybody wants them, I can certainly send the list to you. But other than prayer, the next two are the most important. Please refer abortion vulnerable and abortion minded girls, women, and families to us. Word of mouth is the #1 way that we get clients. And spread the word about our services to others in the community, your family, friends, co-workers, and social groups. People need to understand that there is an option other than Planned Parenthood, and that we are not Planned Parenthood. And although one pastor in this community says that he is suspicious of us and prefers Planned Parenthood, we're really not that scary. There's nothing to be suspicious about. We are there to help save the lives of these babies and to bring people to Christ. So nothing to be suspicious of. And thank you again for giving me the opportunity to share my heart for the Pregnancy Center ministry with you, and may God richly bless each of you.